friends, and welcome back. Well, it took forever, but it is finally starting to look a bit like spring here, and so today we're going to be diving into some archival footage for a super fun project. It's a greenhouse overhaul that I did 2 springs ago while I was still living in Copenhagen, and it was a crazy fun time and a fantastic transformation, so let's get into it. Hey guys, welcome back. Today I am coming at you from this lovely greenhouse which I am sitting in right now. It is going to be getting a total overhaul because while it is a lovely addition to our backyard and our house, it is also in a state of a bit of neglect and disrepair. So this week's project is going to be taking it and making it a much more usable space, both for growing plants and for sitting and having a nice lovely cup of coffee. So if that is something that interests you, even if it is perhaps somewhat outside the scope of my normal channel content, then buckle up and come with me for this adventure. And if that is not something that you are interested in, I will see you in my next video. Thank you for stopping by. Now, something I didn't mention initially, but that I do want to touch on a bit now, is that I wanted this to be a completely upcycled project. We knew that we were going to be moving back to Montreal eventually, and that the greenhouse was obviously not coming with us, so the goal was to do a fantastic transformation, make this space beautiful and usable, but without sinking any money into it, besides maybe the plants, which I probably would have purchased anyways. So first things first, a little bit of background. This greenhouse does not belong to me. It is a part of the apartment that we are renting while we're here in Copenhagen for the next year. And when we moved in, it was in a very sad state of neglect. All of the windows were covered in green moss. There are some broken window panes, and it was not good. As well as creating a place to grow some nice lovely plants, we also wanted to make a little area over here to sit and have a cup of coffee in the morning, or perhaps, enjoy a glass of wine in the evening. So let's take a look at where we're at now so that we can all fully appreciate the amount of work that we have laid out before us, as well as making sure that we have a very nice idea of what it looked like before, so that those after shots are really going to stand out. Alright, so here is a look at what we are dealing with, and it is a mess, just a mess. So you can see we've already bought some plants, and they are starting, to get growing in here. However, they are fighting for space with all of these weeds that are just growing haphazardly in here. We also have not 1, not 2, not 3, but count them, 4 watering cans in here. That feels a little bit excessive to me, as well as basically anything else that could vaguely be considered gardening junk, including shopping baskets. So that all can be just put out of here into the garage, clear up some space. We do have some nice shelving there and there, but it is not being used for anything productive. It is just gathering garbage, so I think we can probably rearrange those and put them to better use. Get this side over here, all be some shelving, clear this out for growing on the ground, and then squaring off these pavement pieces, leveling them out, and then possibly adding some back here so that we can take this chair and another one, put them back there with maybe a table in the middle, for a nice little cafe nook sort of thing. So that is the plan. She is disappointed that there is no pine cone throwing on the schedule, but you never know. I bet we could sneak in the occasional throw here and there. Are you excited about that, huh? Boom! First one of the day. So yeah, that's the plan. Move everything out and start from scratch. Let's go. But first, let's go find Phil, because he's a key component of this whole plan. It was his idea, in fact. I think I found him. When in doubt, follow the sound of power tools.
There you go.
I knew it. Not 1, but 2 butter knives. Because who doesn't use butter knives when gardening? Alright, so our purely aesthetic overhaul of the greenhouse has become, in fact, a little bit more functional because we did discover that back here, the wooden board that was serving as the foundation for this entire greenhouse is rotten through in several places and actually no longer supporting the base of the greenhouse whatsoever. So we are actually going to go through and remove those sections that are rotten and replace them with some small bricks so that this greenhouse is, effectively sitting on something along its whole base, and then we can get back to the original plan, which was leveling all of this dirt out. So it's taken us a bit over an hour to get to this point, but I think it was definitely worth it because we've gotten the entire side here replaced with bricks and there is no more rotting wood, and I think this is going to be much better for the structural integrity of this greenhouse going forward. So now we can get to the original plan, which is raking this all out and making it level before we can add those paving blocks back in. Now, what I neglected to mention on the spot was where those concrete blocks came from, and keen-eyed viewers might have noticed that there were indeed some of these blocks in the opening beauty shots of the greenhouse, but that there were only about 5 or so, and in the final reveal you can count more than twice that. So where did they come from? Well, in the sort of luck and crazy happenstance that I seem to find myself in fairly frequently, I actually found a very large pile of concrete blocks of exactly the same size as the original ones from the greenhouse. So let's check out what happened. So I was all ready to scrounge up some miscellaneous tiles and bricks from our backyard when I came across this, which appears to be the exact size of the bricks that are already in the greenhouse, in full and in half. And they're free, which is amazing. So we're gonna take these, we're gonna load them up into the bucket bike, and we're gonna take them home and use them. Yeah! So now that you know where these mystery blocks came from, let's jump back into the project. Alright, so we are back with day 2. We are well rested and soon to be well caffeinated. And we put in a long day's work yesterday. It does not look like it, but we now have a very nice foundation to get started with day 2. It looks fantastic and it is all quite level. The dirt has been evenly spread out. The windows have been briefly power washed, but we will be going back and giving them a second wash because there are a lot of windows in here. But then we get to get on with my favorite part, which is the more creative part where we bring stuff back in, kind of repurpose some things to make this look a little bit more aesthetic and enjoyable, get some more plants, bring some literal life into this greenhouse, and that's the part that I really cannot wait for. So let's go ahead and get started. Did I just spend all day washing windows? Yes. Yes, I did. Are they as clean as if they were brand spanking new? Yes. Yes, they are. Was it worth it? Maybe. Well, I seem to have lost some footage here, but basically they were bricks all over the yard that had just been literally lost in the undergrowth of the lawn over years and years of basically mild neglect. So it was a bit like an Easter egg hunt, just crawling around on our hands and knees at the borders of the yard, trying to find enough bricks to finish the project. Because as you'll see in a second, there are actually all sorts of hidden treasures just sprinkled around our yard, unused and unappreciated. So, quick recap. The lanterns were from the side of the road. They were being thrown out because they were a bit too rusty. The same with the legs of that little stool. The wood for the stool, which you can see was also used for the back of Canel's miniature fainting couch, came from a recycling center, and the stain and varnish were just whatever was laying around in the vast depths of our basement. Alright, so we've got 2 shelves installed along the back wall of the greenhouse, which is the wall where they will be getting the most sun all day long. And originally they went in with 2 brackets per shelf because I thought that that would be sufficient. However, after we put them in and put all the plants on them, it kind of seemed like they could probably use a little bit more support. So we did throw in an additional bracket on each shelf. They now have 3 brackets and they're looking very sturdy. Unfortunately, that means that we have no brackets left over, and I was still hoping to have at least 1 more shelf on the back wall of this greenhouse here. Just a shallow little shelf where you can throw in like a cup of coffee or a glass of wine. So we had to get a little bit creative and make our own. So I went rummaging around through our garage and our basement looking for basically anything that I thought could be used to make some brackets, and this is what I came up with. These are drawer runners. I found exactly 3, which is how many I will be needing, and they already have the holes drilled here, which is perfect. Normally, this is where you would attach the drawers to the drawer runners. However, in this case, we will be using them to attach the shelf to the top, and then we'll be using these holes to also attach the bracket itself to the walls of the greenhouse. So I think this should work out quite well. I think we've problem solved all the potential problems that could come up. However, catastrophe could still ensue, so stay tuned for that. And yeah, hopefully this will work out. You can see we have a little relief cut here so that once everything is installed and the screws are all in, we can actually bend this up to form a little triangle here, and that should add some additional stability and keep the shelf from wilting over time, because this metal is soft enough that that could be a potential problem. So let's go ahead and get our tools and install this shelf and see how our problem solving turned out. If you're enjoying this video, consider checking out some of my other work. I have an entire playlist of my personal favorite videos on the channel homepage, and they include things like my Hobbit housecoat, my corgi fainting couch, my circus in a corset, and my Victorian Miss Frizzle. If you enjoyed this video, if I kept you company while crafting or brightened your day some, and you'd like to say thanks, I have a Ko-fi account where you can leave a one-time tip, or if you're a big fan of the channel, you can join my Patreon as a monthly supporter to get access to extended versions of videos, monthly vlogs, behind the scenes, and bonus corgi content. I highly appreciate your support. It really makes these videos possible, so thank you so much. Alright, let's wrap this project up. Alright guys, we are this close to crossing the finish line and being able to call this project done. But before I roll the reveal shots, I wanted to sit down and do a little summary about how this project turned out. It is looking super cute and I cannot wait to show it to you. I am so proud of how it turned out, and it's better than anything I could have possibly imagined at the beginning of this project. I think the thing that I'm the most proud of was what a large and beautiful change we were able to effect on this place using just some elbow grease and 100% recycled and repurposed objects. Everything here, except for some of the plants, was scrounged from various corners of the city. Some of them came from dark and neglected corners of our own property. Others were pulled out of recycling bins or were being given away on the sidewalk by a neighbor. And all of it came together with a bit of work to contribute to the rustic charm of this building. And I think it's fantastic. My two favorite upcycles have to be the miniature strainer turned succulent holder and the drawer slider turned shelf bracket. I think that these are two highly specific and very unique to my circumstances upcycles, but hopefully they can inspire you to look at things a slightly different way, and perhaps instead of seeing something as trash, you can see the potential that it has to become something more useful and that can have a second life instead of ending up in a trash heap somewhere. Our landlord, when she saw how much time and elbow grease we were putting into revamping this place, was inspired to invest back into the building herself, and so she went out and purchased enough glass panes to replace all of the ones that were either cracked or flat out missing. And so now every pane in this greenhouse is fully intact, which is very important in the evenings as the temperature starts to drop. This building now keeps its heat and is very comfortable to sit in. We have comfortably enjoyed several meals out here, even when it was still too brisk to sit outside. And lastly, I made it through this entire project without spending a single dime until I came across this yesterday at the secondhand shop, and I thought it was just super adorable and would look perfect hanging above our little cafe table outside. So I did purchase one thing for this revamp, although it was at least still secondhand and therefore technically reused. So without further ado, let's hang this up and take a look at what the final project looks like.